You think you're buying a riding mower, but in reality, you might be buying a $600 repair bill or even double that. The problem is, most buyers don't see it coming until the mower starts running badly. Every year, the riding mower market in North America is worth around $2 billion, but a lot of buying decisions still come down to things that really don't tell the full story, like brand names, horsepower, deck size, or whatever discount happens to be on the tag at that moment. And sure, all of that does matter to some extent, but they don't really tell you how reliable a mower it will be a few years from now. That's why I spend some time digging through owner feedback, repair complaints, and real user reviews. And in this video, I'll show you which riding mowers are worth considering and which ones you should probably want to stay away from. Let's start with something that might genuinely surprise you. No matter where you shop, you'll probably run into the same big names: John Deere, Husqvarna, Cub Cadet, Craftsman, and Troy-Bilt. But what nobody really tells you is that a good number of them roll off the exact same assembly line at MTD Products in Valley City, Ohio. This means the Troy-Bilt Pony and the Craftsman T1100 could very well be the same machine underneath, just with a different logo and a different price tag. That's why I say before you pay for the brand, you need to know what's inside the mower. And there's three things to check first, starting with the engine. But when checking the engine, don't start with horsepower. This only tells you how strong the mower is advertised to be. In the long run, the engine brand says a lot more about reliability, and for most residential riding mowers, the big three are Kawasaki, Kohler, and Briggs & Stratton. With Kawasaki, this is the engine I like the most. Models like the FR651V and FR691V often show up on better riding mowers, and many owners on forums say they've seen Kawasaki engines run around 2,000 to 3,000 hours with proper maintenance. Now, I wouldn't treat that as a guarantee, but it does show why Kawasaki has such a strong reputation. The downside is the price. A riding mower with a Kawasaki engine often costs a few $100s more than a similar mower with a lower-end engine. Kohler 7000 Series V-Twin is the most practical choice in the mid-range, and it isn't the most premium option, but it covers the things you should care about like pressure, lubrication, a spin-on oil filter, and reasonable long-term maintenance costs. And if you're wondering what V-Twin means, well, it basically comes down to how the engine is built. Single-cylinder engines are simpler and usually cheaper, but they tend to vibrate more and work better for smaller, flatter yards. V-twin engines, however, use two cylinders instead, which helps them run smoother. Briggs & Stratton is more complicated though. Actually, it isn't a bad brand. Briggs has been making small engines for more than 100 years, and you still see them on a lot of riding mowers. But this is the name I checked the most carefully, especially after the company went through bankruptcy in 2020 and was bought out by KPS Capital Partners. Now, what I want you to remember is that not all Briggs engines are the same. A Briggs V-twin can still be a decent choice if it's priced fairly, but a Briggs single-cylinder engine on a mower over $2,000 is where I'd slow things down. At that price, you should probably ask yourself why you're still paying for a lower-end engine setup when other models may already give you a Kohler V-twin or something better. So now we move on to the transmission, and this is where one name shows up more than almost anything else. Tough Torque K46. This is a hydrostatic transmission, so instead of shifting gears manually, you simply press the pedal to move forward or backwards. Now this setup appears on a huge number of residential riding mowers, and Tough Torque even describes the K46 as the world's most popular IHT transmission. Now this doesn't mean it fits every yard though. Frankly speaking, the K46 is a good transmission, but it's built more for light to medium work. If your yard is fairly flat and you're mainly cutting grass, it can be perfectly fine. But if you're dealing with hills, rough terrain, or regularly pulling heavy loads, it can get pushed beyond what it was really designed for. And over time, the extra stress may lead to weaker drive performance. So if you're looking for a riding mower around $3,000 and it uses a K46, I wouldn't reject it right away. but I'd pay closer attention to the overall setup and whether it fits your property. If not, then there's two other directions I'd consider. The first one is a manual transmission like what you'd see on the Troy-Bilt Pony 42. Now, it isn't as smooth or convenient as hydrostatic, but it's simpler, and since there's no hydrostatic system, you avoid the problems that come with one. Now, the second option here is the Hydro Gear T2. It's hydrostatic, so it's still easy to drive. But unlike the K46, it has a stronger setup, including a die-cast aluminum housing and a 3/4 inch axle. And now we have the deck. And a bigger deck isn't always a better one. So instead of looking only at the cut size, you should also know whether it's stamped or fabricated. With a stamped deck, you're trading some strength for a lower price. Now, it's pressed from a single sheet of steel, which makes it lighter and cheaper to produce. Now, that doesn't make it a bad choice though. For a flat, clean yard, it can do the job. But if the mower has to deal with rougher ground year after year after year, then this is the kind of deck that I wouldn't want to overpay for. The Craftsman T110 is a good way to understand this. It has a 42-inch stamped steel deck, which makes sense for a simple homeowner mower, but I wouldn't call the deck its strongest feature. Now, if stamped decks help keep the price down, fabricated decks show you that the manufacturer spent more on the part that takes the abuse. It's built from thicker steel plates, often around 10 to 11 gauge, and welded reinforcements in key areas for extra strength. Now, two models that stand out here are the Husqvarna TS242XD and the Cub Cadet XT2 SLX50, which we'll come back to in just a bit. And by the way, if you want more breakdowns like this, don't forget to subscribe. I'll be covering a lot more mower brands, comparisons, and buying mistakes to avoid. But for now, let's move on to the riding mowers to avoid. And now, if you ask me which mower might give you the most hesitation, then the Husqvarna YTH 18542 would beat the Deere at the top of the list. And that's unfortunate because Husqvarna is a brand a lot of people trust. But with the YTH series, it sometimes feels like the reputation is doing more work than the mower itself. For a mower around $2,400, the setup is fairly basic across the board. You're getting an 18.5 horsepower single-cylinder Briggs & Stratton Intech engine, a K46 transmission, and a 42-inch stamped deck. What worries me more is that the same problems keep coming up. Owners report cracks near the rear wheels, rear axle issues, and premature problems with the spindles and deck. But the bigger concern isn't even the mower itself. It's what's happening if something goes wrong. On Consumer Affairs, YTH 18542 has a rough 1.3 out of 5 rating from nearly 700 reviews, and a lot of the frustration came from the support and warranty problems. And that's a big reason why this mower is hard for me to recommend. But I'll say more about Husqvarna later on, just from the other side. Now, the next model I think twice about is the Craftsman T110. Now, it may look like a decent entry-level lawn tractor, but Consumer Reports rated it just 46 overall, which puts it at the bottom of the riding mowers they compared. Now, it has a 42-inch deck, a 17.5 horsepower Briggs & Stratton single-cylinder engine, and a 7-speed manual transmission. Consumer Reports found that side discharging was good, but mulching and bagging were only average. Handling was also poor, and that means every turn around a tree, fence line, or tight corner takes more effort. So even though I like the simplicity of a manual transmission, this isn't the mower I'd get excited about. And now for the part you've probably been waiting for, the mowers that are actually worth paying for. And first on the list is the Cub Cadet XT2 SLX50. And if your yard is 3 acres or bigger, then this Cub Cadet is a very complete mower for under $4,000. The engine gives you 24 horsepower, and because it's a Kohler V-twin, the power delivery feels smoother and steadier while mowing. It also comes with a 50-inch fabricated Aeroforce deck, which helps the lawn look more even after each pass. Now, on top of that, Consumer Reports gave it a strong cutting scores along with an 80 overall rating. And the built-in wash port makes cleanup underneath less of a chore afterwards. Now, Cub Cadet even includes a lifetime limited warranty on the deck shell, and that's something you don't see very often in this category. Next up is the John Deere S130. At around $2,900, it's one of the more affordable picks here, but the owner feedback is pretty solid. On Lowe's, it currently has a 4.3 out of 5 rating from nearly 1,800 reviews. And the engine is a 22 horsepower V-twin, which should be enough for yards up to 2 acres. I also like the easy change 30-second oil system since it removes a lot of the usual maintenance hassle. And as for the deck, John Deere uses its 13 gauge stamped edge design. Now it isn't the most heavy-duty setup out there, but it's been around for years and has a pretty solid track record. You also get a 2-year bumper-to-bumper warranty, hydrostatic transmission with side-by-side pedals, cruise control, and electric PTO. Now the main weakness here is bagging performance, where Consumer Reports gave it a 3 out of 5. So if collecting clippings is a big priority for you, then that's something worth considering. And if you can stretch the budget by about $400, then the S170 is the stronger long-term option in the same lineup. Now it upgrades to a larger 48-inch deck, a 24 horsepower V-twin ELS engine, and slightly better Consumer Reports scores overall. Finally, I'm going with the Husqvarna TS242XD, which is the only lawn tractor in this list powered by a Kawasaki engine. And that already gives it a more premium feel than the most basic lawn tractors. It also has a 42-inch clear-cut fabricated deck, a cast iron front axle, and automatic locking differential for better traction. That means when the grass is wet or the ground gets uneven, it's less likely to feel stuck or light in the rear. And there's also positive long-term feedback from owners, with some saying the mower still performs well after 3 years. So if your yard has hills, wet conditions, or anything that punishes a weaker machine, then this is where you stop looking. And that's all for today. I hope this video helped you get a better idea of which riding mower might be right for you. And if you want to avoid mistakes that cost zero-turn mowers thousands, then check out this video next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.